Hot off the presses, we are now in third place.
Dude, what has been billed as a sign of success turns out to be probably millions of dollars of either Brian's money or the donators' money. Welcome to the $10 million studio. I'm in a good mood today, I'm not going to lie to you. And it's because this has proven me right. I didn't think I was so sensitive to being right and feeling good about it, but it's true. I'm human. And when this stuff happens where I've just been proven absolutely correct about my prediction and, all my, reporting on Brian Rose, it is incredible. It's a good feeling. So we're taking a slow day because we're just going to, it's a nice, easy lap in here because Brian Rose has been pushing for mayor of London after his failed bid with this freedom platform thing. No one knows where the money went. So he kind of abandoned that and he's like running for mayor now. And for a while, he's been billing himself as, I'm in second place, guys. I'm about to win, just to gin up all his supporters' excitement. And he was pointing to one thing in particular, and that is the bookie odds, right? The bookies, they always know what's going on in politics, not the pollsters. Don't ignore the polls. Instead, you got to focus on the bookies. Check it out.
Okay, big news to report. We are now officially in second place to be your next mayor of London. Paddy Power, which I think is the biggest betting agency in the world, has just put us in second place.
So that's like pretty crazy, right? I mean, here's this guy starting off bidding for mayor of London. He's like saying, I'm in second place. You look at the bookies, he is in second place. I was wondering what's going on. I mean, I had some theories, whatever, but it seemed shocking to me. And I was like, wow, I wonder if there's something going on behind the scenes I don't understand. I wonder if there's a uprising of Brian Rose donators in London that I didn't know existed. What's going on? Because you look at the polls, he's like in last place, like last place. He's a nobody, but he's on social media like peacocking, basically saying, I'm winning. He has a bunch of things like, we won, we're winning, we're moving into whatever hall on July 1st, whatever. I don't know UK politics. I don't know when you guys are doing your elections. The point is, the only thing I know is that Brian Rose was parading himself around as if he's going to win the next mayor of London. And I just was bothered by that. Not because I'm in the UK. It's not going to affect me at all. But I was just disturbed by the grift. I was like, well, I don't want the grifter to win. This guy had just moved from I'm a freedom of speech man to I'm the UK London man. And it's all about the donations. That's what I realized was it's all about that sweet money, dude.
And if you do donate, I got some things for you.
I was calling it out, and I was the only one covering this guy until we have a bombshell from Betfair. Now, who is Betfair? Well, you go here. Turns out they merged with Paddy Power, and that is the bookmaker that Brian Rose is parading around as proof that he's like ahead.
Paddy Power, which I think is the biggest betting agency in the world, has just put us in second place.
He's going, Paddy Power, they're saying they would never get it wrong. They're saying that I'm in second place, so I must be in second place. Well, the story finally blew wide open, just wide open with this. Rose gamble makes little sense, okay? And I'm just going to read this out to you because it's truly incredible. So either they need to find a celebrity figure who dissociate from the wider national party brand, blah, blah, blah. Perhaps that was the logic of Brian Rose being gambled into 5-0 and still trading at 50-0, which is 49-1. Rose is an ex-banker. He's known for promoting conspiracy theories. He carries all the hallmarks of post-truth grifters that have risen on social media during the age of Trump and Putin. Perhaps that explains some of the money for him, either as a publicity device or from devoted fans. Either way, this was one of the most bizarre gambles ever seen in UK politics. And then let me emphasize this. He has never impacted polling. Brian will not be mayor or even finish top 4. Take that to the bank. Like, wow. Okay, first of all, that says a few things. Number one, this validates what we've been saying, which is that he was just purely gambled into second place in the betting odds. Because if you just put a large enough bet on somebody, the bookies aren't going to be exposed to that much risk, so they're going to like change the odds, right, for who's like the favorite to win. And so clearly, either Brian Rose put his own money down, or somebody else put some really bad money on Brian Rose because he's going to lose. And they're all saying like, yeah, There's no way he's going to win. Nobody would ever think this guy's going to win. But some random person put some huge bets on this guy. So listen, Brian's a fan of conspiracy theories, so I have my own conspiracy theory for you guys. This is not fact. This is not proven. This is an opinion. Did Brian Rose use donators' money to bankroll himself into second place for a publicity stunt so he could start bragging about the fact that he's in second place? Is that what's going on? Because if so, that's incredible. If it's just Brian supporters who are losing their money and losing their shirts on Brian Rose because they think Brian's going to win and he's not, that's sad, but also you should have known. I mean, this guy has nothing to offer. He's lied about getting arrested, lied about a criminal record, done the free speech platform disaster, right? Which he never talks about anymore. And you're at the phase where you think to yourself, what is Brian going to do after? What is he qualified to do? What are people going to support him doing? Because now he's split his audience. Only people from London are even watching him because all the content is London related, but he's never going to win in a London mayoral campaign. So my question is this: what's his next move? I think, honestly, look, I'm looking like Nostradamus lately with Brian Rose. So I'm going to guess. I think he's going to spin this into, it's a conspiracy theory against me. And he's going to go in the David Icke direction. Or I'm the fringe guy who the establishment doesn't want. And he's going to ride that gravy train into the ground, get more donations. But he's going to make it seem like it was rigged against him, when in actuality, he never had a chance. He literally gambled his way, or somebody did, gambled his way into second place in the bookies. But as it says right here, he has never impacted the polling. Brian could have spent all that energy in doing his silly little podcast and nothing would have changed. That's what he should have done. That's what he should return to, but I don't think it is. I have a feeling that after this defeat, it's going to be, I don't know what his next move is, but I don't. Strutting around London and declaring yourself in second place isn't a good look if you end up placing last. I mean, it's just embarrassing. Hey, Future Stephen here. Really important update. So I contacted the author of this article because he seemed to have an in with Paddy Power. And I asked him, how much do you think it took to bet Brian all the way up to where he was? Because I was interested in how much money he put on himself, if it is himself that put the money on there. This guy, the political gambler, again, the guy who wrote the article, not that much to be honest, only 423,000 in total matched on him, and much of that will be other traders cashing in on the madness. Plus, when an advanced knowledge of the gamble, loading up at 40 to 50K would leave plenty of cushion. Whoa. Just think of how insane this stunt is. It's almost as dumb as his big billboard stunt that he's doing right now. Show that real quick. He's gone completely mad. Anyways, I wanted to put this in because it's crazy new evidence. Anyway, back to the video. But anyways, guys, this feels like the sad end of a sort of sad campaign from a sad grifter. Mark Cuban is being sued for an investment he calls as close to risk-free as you're going to get in crypto right before it all crashed.
I'm not trying here to say it's 100% risk-free, but it's as close to risk-free as you're going to get in the crypto universe. Create an account using the promotional code MAVS100.
Well, that didn't turn out so well. It turns out now you can use code SUETHEMAVS at checkout to recoup your money. Now, is this a sure thing? No, but it's as close to a sure thing as you're going to get in the world of suing billionaires. Because fast forward several months after the Mavs jumped into this investment opportunity, the almost risk-free company Voyager declared bankruptcy and froze everyone's money.
More pain in the world of crypto. Voyager Digital files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection just days after the broker suspended withdrawals on the platform.
Now, I reported on this a few months ago, how Voyager disguised itself as a low-risk business and used misleading marketing to make incredibly dumb lending decisions that some people would call doing a 2008. Now, because of that, a class action lawsuit has just been filed against Voyager and Mark Cuban. It claims that they both promoted a Ponzi scheme that cost a lot of people money. So today we're going to dive into this lawsuit to figure out what's going on. So to begin, the first thing you need to know about this story is that this is actually the second class action lawsuit against Voyager. The first one happened almost a year ago. It's called the Cassidy lawsuit. The main allegation in this lawsuit is that it accuses Voyager of lying, which I know is a bit like accusing Ezra Miller of a felony. It's about as unsurprising as the sunrise, but plaintiffs accused Voyager of lying about claims of 100% commission-free trading. Voyager advertised that when you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's no fees to do so, which obviously sounds very attractive until you realize that Voyager makes millions of dollars in fees despite having no fees. So how is that possible? Well, they make money on something called the spread. This is the difference in price of when you buy and sell. And this is how a lot of free brokers essentially work. Except in the case of Voyager, they had told people that they had a special technology saving them even more money called the Smart Order Router. According to their marketing, it identifies inefficiencies in the crypto market, which it then uses to, quote, get you a better price on your trades, which all meant, according to Voyager, they only make money when you save money. Unfortunately, this wasn't true. Allegedly, Voyager charges their users the highest premium on trades across all competitors. And, quote, on all but one occasion, Voyager's prices were worse than whichever exchange they were compared to. So the only person this Smart Order Router was working for was really Voyager. And in hindsight, it's not exactly surprising that Voyager was making money off trading fees, but it's how brazen they were about lying about it that was the problem. Voyager repeatedly advertised things like getting you the, quote, most Bitcoin for your buck with images of Voyager checking multiple exchanges for pricing, but this is allegedly false. And that's what lawsuit 1 is about. Voyager lied, people died. Okay, well, people didn't die. People paid millions more than they had to. But then next came the bankruptcy of Voyager, which we know a lot about. Their lending team basically acted like degenerates on Wall Street bets and lost everyone's money on high-risk loans. And that all brings us up to today. Lawsuit number 2 with our boy Mark Cuban. The lawsuit basically says, hey, people lost millions, maybe billions of dollars because you said this was all close to risk-free, and it clearly wasn't. Now the plaintiffs are suing to recoup losses they claim are up to $5 billion, which I know sounds like a lot. I'm guessing this is so that they can negotiate later and maybe get a fraction of that in some kind of a settlement. But while there are a lot of things in this lawsuit that are similar to the first one, there are a few new things worth talking about. Firstly, it came out in discovery that Cuban actually knew about the first lawsuit, the Cassidy one. And apparently he even was worried about it or wondered if he should be worried about it. Allegedly, he contacted the CEO, Stephen Ehrlich, about it and clearly never communicated any of that or the risk to his fans. And the other big thing in this lawsuit is that it accuses Cuban and Stephen Ehrlich of running a Ponzi scheme where basically they were kept bringing in new people to pay for the other people until it all imploded. Now, I'll leave it to you guys to decide whether this was all a Ponzi scheme or not. But what I know is true is that Voyager definitely misled people, all the while claiming to be transparent and looking out for the customer, which to me is about as bad as it gets.
And so we're trying to make sure that we're so transparent about this. And transparency is really what leads us to trying to build, the next generation of financial services company is by being transparent about it. I'm sure if like Cred, if it was quarterly financials, some of the things that they're talking about might have gotten caught earlier. So it's important to us.
So yeah, it turns out they weren't transparent at all. And not only that, they used one of the most respected businessmen in the world to push their misleading claims onto millions. This is especially ironic given how Cuban talks about how the goal of this partnership is education and financial literacy.
It's the education that we want to bring education.
The education of education.
Education. Teach the youth about financial literacy.
Well, I guess it is fair to say that investors got an education, just probably not the one Mark Cuban was talking about. The whole irony here is that Cuban is always pushing the same trash that he's ranting against. Like on the one hand, he'll call metaverse real estate the dumbest ever, which to be fair, might be true. But then on the other hand, he turns around and gets caught in scam after scam. And at some point you have to ask yourself, when does he become responsible for what he says, especially when he's one of the most recognizable businessmen on the planet thanks to Shark Tank? I mean, when Mark Cuban speaks, for better or worse, and he is a terrible crypto investor, people still listen. So it's sad when he says things like this.
There's a lot of ways to inexpensively start to get an understanding. And it's a lot easier than even opening up a savings account. It's a pain in the ass to open up a savings account, particularly for your kids these days. There's so much paperwork. And, whether it's yourself personally, someone you're trying to teach your kids about personal finance, believe it or not, this is actually a better way. And so that's one of the unique opportunities and why it's not too late.
That's right. Why fill out all that boring paperwork at a bank when you can lose all your money instead for a valuable lesson in personal finance? Of course, I'm hoping that if the fans actually win this lawsuit, it's a lesson in personal finance that Mark Cuban won't forget either.
Are you serious?
Logan Paul is suing me for CryptoZoo only a year after he thanked me for it. Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him. He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him again. You see, only hours before this lawsuit was filed, I had reached out to Logan Paul about a new investigation into one of his companies, which has just been accused by the Canadian government of being a multi-layered fraud in Canada. I obviously had questions, but before I was able to get answers, Logan's team of lawyers showed up to silence me. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to tell you how to support us if you want, because while I didn't think I'd need help, I was wrong. But before we get to my mistake, let's start with Logan's. This lawsuit is not about Logan Paul getting defamed. Instead, this is about him trying to dodge accountability, victims, and blame anyone but himself for his problems, especially me. This lawsuit says Logan Paul wants to hold me accountable for my actions. But what actions are those? Holding him accountable? It's ironic because his lawyers claim Logan has learned to believe in the importance of accountability. But accountability for who? Currently, Logan is fighting the victims of CryptoZoo in court, and now he's fighting the journalist who exposed him in the first place. Personally, I believe Logan has learned nothing from this except how to silence people with the law. But I won't be silenced because Logan's lawsuit makes no sense. We're going to go through it because from the beginning, there's problems. Logan's 5 lawyers tried to discredit me as a journalist. They paint me as someone who wanted money. They say I had a false and malicious narrative. But you know who doesn't believe that? You know who secretly praises me behind the scenes?
This journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla, who's incredible, by the way. A very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called CryptoZoo.
That's right, it's Logan Paul. He's the biggest enemy of Logan Paul's defamation case. Who knew? Because defamation requires actual malice and a reckless disregard for the truth, but he just admitted on camera that I am thorough and good-hearted. Maybe that's why he wanted to remove that video from the internet, according to the YouTuber who released it.
The only issue that was ever communicated was remove this crypto stuff, remove this CryptoZoo stuff. If CryptoZoo is in there, if Coffeezilla's in there, I'm not going to promote it.
Yeah, remove that CryptoZoo stuff, that Coffeezilla stuff. Doesn't look good when you compliment the guy you're trying to sue. Maybe that's why Logan isn't even suing me for my original investigation at all, despite most of this lawsuit being a ridiculous fanfic about how I took Logan out of context, that Logan was a victim, that I withheld text messages. Logan isn't suing me for any of the original investigation, though, because he knows he can't. Instead, at the end of the lawsuit, we find what my defamation really is. I'm being sued for 2 videos and 1 tweet where I advocated for refunds. For the victims. Yes, you heard me right. Logan Paul sued me after I tried to get his fans, the CryptoZoo investors, a full refund. Remember, there are 2 parts to CryptoZoo, the NFTs and the Zoo tokens, and Logan chose only to refund the NFTs, which is a minority of the losses, and I had a major problem with that. I told Logan this. I've stated over and over my opinion that it is disappointing for someone as rich as Logan to not make things fully right, and instead only pay back a small part of the losses while fighting the rest of the victims in court. And it's those videos and tweet where I ask for refunds, which I'm being sued for. The first video in question is about Logan Paul not paying out refunds for 6 months. The second video was about Logan's partial refund, having a clause to make sure you couldn't sue him for the rest of your refund. And the tweet, I simply said, Logan's the type of guy to thank you for exposing his scam and block you when you remind him to pay up. I mean, yeah, now he's the type of guy to then sue you. Now, I'm sure Logan doesn't like it when I say things like Logan's victims or Logan's scam, but I have a question. If they're not Logan's victims, whose victims are they? Even Logan admits they are victims. He told me via text, just thought we had the same goal of helping victims instead of a divisive social media war. So he agrees people have been wronged by his game. You know, the thing that he said will earn you money.
It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So how are these not Logan's victims? He, of course, would say it's his business partner's fault. But remember, Jake and Eddie have been out of the picture for years. And yet, CryptoZoo hasn't been released, despite Logan constantly promising it, and of course, also threatening to sue me.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court. By the time this comes out, it'll be done. The game's gonna be made. You're gonna have the opportunity to get your money back if you want, if you don't wanna play the game. And I'm gonna take care of the people who made me look like this was a scam perpetrated by me.
Right. Logan wants to sue me and release a finished CryptoZoo game, but he's only done one of those. Since Logan can't blame his partners, Jake and Eddie, for this because they've been out of the picture, do you think he'll take accountability for not launching CryptoZoo? No. This time, he blames the government. He says releasing CryptoZoo has too many regulatory hurdles. Maybe they should have thought of that before multi-millions of dollars of zoo tokens and eggs were sold. And now Logan would rather blame the government than take accountability. Or if you let him keep talking, Logan might rant about internet reporters having too much responsibility.
These internet journalists, internet investigative reporters have way too much responsibility on their hands that is being mismanaged and wielded in a really inappropriate way.
It's honestly funny to watch this guy whine about his problems, which you can barely hear over what sounds like a private jet. Which brings me to another problem Logan has. Part of any defamation case is damages, and proving someone has harmed your reputation. But isn't Logan richer than ever with Prime? And did he have a reputation to harm? His lawsuit shows comments calling Logan a scammer, possibly to suggest he's been hurt by my videos. But you have to have a reputation to lose one. And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes. That article does not reference my work. So Logan had already had a reputation as a scammer before my investigation, at least if you believe their allegations. So this lawsuit from beginning to end is groundless, meritless, frivolous, and Logan knows that because behind the scenes, in clips he didn't want to get out, he's saying I'm thorough and good-hearted. But in public, he wants to sue me, silence me, and cost me money because that's the one department where we both know he's got me beat. We might have facts, we might even have evidence, but he's got all the money and the lawyers. And this is where I have to get to my one embarrassing mistake in all of this. See, my defense against rich people like Logan Paul is media insurance, for frivolous lawsuits. So when I was sued, I immediately called my insurance company to file a claim, so I wouldn't have to pay for it. But they told me they're not going to pay. They're trying to get out of covering us, using lawyers in fine print. It's a long story that I will be explaining on my second channel because insurance underwriting is very boring. But suffice to say, I got Dylan Danist. I may have even gotten scammed. I'm not quite sure. For now, the bottom line is we have to fight Logan with our personal funds, which means I need to ask for your support. If you want to help and are able to help, there are two ways to contribute to our fight against Logan Paul. One, you can join our Patreon, which supports the channel. Or you can buy exclusive merch at Coffeezilla.store, where we just released the Coffeezilla defense drop. That's right. Life hands you lawsuits. You get rejected by your insurance. Make merch. So here's the deal. These shirts will be available for pre-order for only the next 14 days. And 100% of profits we make from selling them will go to this lawsuit. If for some weird reason there's money left over, it will be dedicated to future legal costs for this channel. I just want to let you know they're available, and it's a cool way to support the lawsuit while also getting something in return. I didn't want to just set up a GoFundMe. So if you want to do that, just know pre-orders take a few weeks to get done because we make them after you order. And remember, you have 14 days. And you can get that at Coffeezilla.store. I'll link that below. It's Coffeezilla.store. All right, now we're going to shift gears and talk about the final part of this lawsuit. Why did Logan Paul sue me now? It's been over a year since he apologized and thanked me.
Thank you, Coffeezilla. I am very grateful for your work and your investigation. And I mean that. Thank you, bro.
It might seem strange, but I've got some fun facts for you that may or may not be related. Did you know 6 days before the lawsuit, I had featured Logan Paul in a teaser for a video? Did you know 21 hours before the lawsuit, I had texted Logan for comment? Did you know I told him he had 24 hours to respond, and Logan sued me 3 hours before the deadline? Yep, that's right. Logan's lawyers then threatened me in that lawsuit email that if I report on this new story, Logan might hold me accountable. And Logan's definition of accountability seems to mean he'll sue me, which is why I believe this lawsuit was not designed to win, but to shut me up, to threaten me, using Logan's wealth and a federal court system without anti-SLAPP to send a message. Do not tell that story. Of course, I don't believe that's the only reason I was sued. Clearly, Logan wanted to sue me for a while, but I believe this new investigation played a role in pulling the trigger. Maybe Logan's team will deny this. Maybe they'll say it's coincidence they sued 3 hours before a deadline. Maybe it's coincidence I announced a story about Logan 6 days before, and maybe it's coincidence that Logan's lawyers threatened me about this new story while suing me for the last story that I hadn't discussed in 6 months. But I don't think so. Either way, when someone threatens new reporting in a lawsuit about old reporting, the effect is the same. So, what was this new story? Well, it's partly about a Canadian law enforcement investigation, and it's partly about something I told Logan to help him. Yes, believe it or not, I tried to help Logan Paul. To explain, we need to go back to when CryptoZoo first got exposed. Logan said he was going to sue me, but got backlash. So he called me to apologize. He said he was wrong and wanted to make things right. I made it clear refunds are the absolute right move going forward, and to my surprise, he agreed. 100%, man. We're on the same page. But we weren't. Logan now doesn't use the word refund. He calls this a buyback. But at the time, I need you to understand, I thought Logan was going to announce a full refund, so I began trying to help him. And dare I say, I was even nice to the guy. You can see that I tried to offer people who might be able to trace blockchain damages to refund people. And in the same spirit, I made Logan aware of potential problems at a different company he co-owned, called Liquid Marketplace.
On a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace, it allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together.
This was a fractionalized collectible platform where Logan sold things like roughly half of a $5 million Pokemon card. The idea was you could buy tokens that represented partial ownership in rare collectibles. That video, by the way, got 8 million views, and a lot of people bought into this platform. The problem was, I had heard troubling stories about this company, and I was trying to verify if the claims were true. So I had gone to the CEO, Ryan Bahadori, to ask him questions, but he kept dodging meetings. And I don't mean he refused meeting with me, I mean we would set up meetings and then he did not show up. So I was troubled, and I brought this up to Logan. I figured if he's gonna make one company right, make them all right. Otherwise, it might come back to bite him. I mean, can you imagine the disaster if another one of Logan Paul's co-founded companies was discovered to have scammed his fans? Hypothetically, that would be a very bad look. So I'm thinking, while he refunds CryptoZoo, Logan can push the CEO to talk with me, and I can figure out the truth. Maybe Logan can fix it if there's something wrong. And you can see Logan responds to me. He says, "Gonna push Ryan to talk to you. Again, appreciate it, man." Now, I don't hear back from Ryan or Logan about this, so after a while, I follow up again. I say, let me know if Ryan plans on talking. A lot of nasty stories still out there about Liquid Marketplace, embezzlement, etc., and he's dodged meeting me already once. Now, obviously, the most shocking part of this is the word embezzlement. I need to make it clear. This is not an accusation. I am not accusing Logan Paul or Liquid Marketplace of wrongdoing. I brought it up in our texts because it is my job to investigate unverified claims. That's the whole point of me wanting to meet with the CEO, but I was stonewalled. Logan never replied, despite me reminding him again via email 5 months later that I wanted to talk to Ryan about, quote, embezzlement and, quote, potential fraud. Once again, not accusing anyone of wrongdoing, I'm simply doing my job at the time to chase down rumors and unverified claims. Without concrete proof, I would have never talked about any of this. But on June 19th, 2024, things changed because the Ontario Securities Commission revealed a Liquid Marketplace investigation where they accused Liquid Marketplace of being a multi-layered fraud, taking in $2.7 million from the sale of these fractionalized collectibles. The platform allegedly did not do exactly what it promised. Some of the blockchain tokens did not even mint. But even worse was the allegation that approximately $3 million was misappropriated from $10 million they raised of investor funds. This is a very similar claim to the one I had tried to verify. Ryan Bahadori, the guy I tried to speak to, was accused of, quote, making hidden payments to shell corporations without any legitimate business purpose, as were 2 other of the founders. And Ryan was accused of, quote, using company credit cards to buy high-end fashion, expensive jewelry and watches, personal health, and luxury spa services. If only there was someone who could have investigated this sooner. Now, it is really important to say Logan Paul is not accused by the OSC. Only 3 of his co-founders and his company is. But given the history, I had questions. After all, Logan's promotional video about Liquid Marketplace is still up. And the reason many people cared about Liquid Marketplace at all was arguably Logan Paul. So here were my questions. And as I read this, it's important to correct. I say Liquid Marketplace got accused of embezzlement. Technically, the OSC alleged misappropriation of funds. Those are similar. They're not the same. So I wanted to correct that. But here's what I asked. Quote, did you take any action on hearing these allegations over a year ago? Did you get approached by the Ontario Securities Commission? And is it true that Liquid Marketplace lied about their claims of insurance, appraisals, and co-ownership as the Ontario Securities Commission alleges? You can see I gave him 24 hours to respond on June 26th at 2:03 p.m. And I was promptly sued June 27th at 11:28 a.m. with roughly 3 hours to spare. Now I want to be clear. I don't know the answers to the questions I sent. Maybe Logan secretly whistleblew to the OSC when I first went to him. I don't know. That's why you ask questions as a reporter. But now the story is not about those questions. It's about why I was sued immediately after asking them and threatened if I reported about Liquid Marketplace in a way they didn't like. This is not how I wanted this story to come out because there's still so much we don't know and so much I can't say now for legal reasons. Maybe Logan's totally innocent. Maybe he surrounded himself with scumbags who defrauded his fans. Maybe he'll do a refund for this project. I don't know because I never got the chance to find out. I tried to investigate, but I was stonewalled and sued when I asked questions. Make no mistake though, this investigation is still ongoing and you can reach me at the email below if you were affected. I will release my full investigation when it's appropriate because even if Logan doesn't want to answer questions, it doesn't mean I have to stop asking them. So in summary, Logan's lawsuit is not about my original reporting into CryptoZoo. Even if you take this lawsuit on its own without context, it's an argument over Logan not refunding victims in full. It's Logan insisting he's not to blame. It's all his business partner's fault. But I don't think that aligns with the publicly known facts. That's my opinion. For years, Logan has controlled CryptoZoo, and yet the game is still not out. Logan is now blaming the government for that instead of himself. And he also blames me for losing his good reputation, but you can't lose something you never had. Not to mention, Logan is arguably richer than ever, and he's on the record finding my reporting thorough and good-hearted. So this defamation lawsuit feels frivolous even on the surface. But if you dig deeper, there's an even more compelling story, which I personally believe, where the goal is to crush new investigations while taking revenge on old ones. In this version, Logan might not even care about winning. Legal battles are expensive, and in the world of money, he's got me beat. So he can try to silence me by weaponizing the law, he can sue me for doing my job, he can sue me for asking questions, and he can sue me for asking for refunds. But it's going to backfire, because I think it reveals Logan as a bully rather than someone who's truly sorry. Because Logan may be a master at convincing people he's changed, but I'm convinced it's the follow-through where things go wrong. You know, the actually changing part. There was a time where even I believed Logan was going to fully refund victims. That's why I was so nice to him and tried to help despite him threatening to sue me. But when it came time to pay up, Logan chose a minority refund and to fight the rest of the victims in court who wanted their money. And when I complained about that, Logan went from sorries and thank yous to lawyers and I'm suing you real quick. The irony is, it was that same initial belief in Logan's capacity to change that also made me bring up Liquid Marketplace to help stop potential problems. And yet here we are. The company is now accused of being a multi-layered fraud by the OSC. And the CEO, who I tried to talk to multiple times, is alleged to have misappropriated money. This is despite me trying to talk to Logan directly many times as he asked.
Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me personally, not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Stephen.
Well, I did try to reach out personally, and I got sued and threatened a day later. That, I think, says a lot about Logan's supposed change and his belief in accountability. Maybe the person he really believes in accountability for is not himself, but me, specifically when I try to get accountability from him. If you want to support this lawsuit, the best way is Coffeezilla.store. You have 14 days. Or you can support on Patreon. Thank you for listening and have a nice day. You've already heard on this channel of the death touch, but have you heard of the healing touch?
This is a picture of a brain tumor. It's the hardest kind of tumor to heal and operate on. Yet astonishingly, a tumor that looks like this can dissolve and vanish without surgery, chemotherapy, drugs, or any risky procedures.
Woo! Getting into it today, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 Million Studio. I'm your host, Coffeezilla, and today, yes, we're talking about health. It's important to me. It's important to you. I know it is. You know, you got health, you don't have it. If you don't, people want to sell you some magic formula, just like the death touch miraculously saved us if we needed to defeat our foes. I don't know if you guys watched that video. Go watch it right here. Just like that. Now there's healing touches, ladies and gentlemen. We're investigating them today because let's say you have cancer. This is going to interest you a lot, okay? Let's bring down the thing and try not to hit myself there, okay? Touch point technique, 5 times stronger than chemotherapy, vitamins, and antioxidants. Ladies and gentlemen, how incredible. Someone call Harvard. Someone call Yale. We got to get the boys on this. I mean, we got a virus going around, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out what's going on.
It's a healing method so powerful, so simple to use, and so inexpensive, the medical community will do anything to hide it from us.
Oh! Adding conspiracy. Yes. The doctors want to hurt you. Yes. Right. Go ahead.
Those who have the knowledge to use it are often regarded as miracle workers. As you watch this video right to the end, you'll not only discover how to turn your body into the perfect healing machine, you'll be able to do it yourself, and in as little as 5 minutes a day.
I love how they always go from they can't just have an incredible claim. You're gonna heal any problem. They also have to double down and be like, in 5 minutes. It's not like, hey, we figured out how to cure Alzheimer's. We figured out how to cure Alzheimer's in 5 minutes, no surgery, nothing required. It's incredible, man.
Hard to believe?
Yes.
Not after you hear the true story of Charles. What would you...
Who's Charles? It's not like Charles Anderson. It's just Charles. Of course it is.
You do if your child had a tumor that doctors could not remove. If they tried, the risk of death for your child or someone you love was so high that it was an almost guaranteed death sentence.
Come on.
But if on the small chance that the surgery worked, your child or loved one's face would be horrifically disfigured for life.
Okay.
That's a decision Charles had to face.
Stock footage of old man. Google search, please.
His daughter was supposed to die. Yet, as you are about to hear, he discovered a third option. It was a long shot, but it was one he was willing to take. And the result? Well, you can judge that for yourself after you...
He's a different person, by the way. Everyone see that? That's stupid.
The birth of his daughter was easily the happiest moment in Charles's life. But the joy didn't last long because soon a dentist noticed a small bean-sized growth in his daughter's upper lip. He took his daughter to see a doctor. Surely, since he caught it early, modern medicine would provide a way to remove it since it was still such a small growth.
Hasn't she been through enough, guys? I'm already now emotionally invested in this. I was going to disprove this, but now I'm emotionally invested in the bean-sized growth here.
But his hopes crashed when he was told by the doctor that it was a blood vessel tumor and that it was in a place where surgery couldn't be performed. Charles thought maybe it would stay harmless, that it would stay small and benign. But the tumor steadily swelled. The doctors predicted she had only 6 months to live. A shroud of sadness covered their family. Helplessly, they watched their child slowly choke to death. A friend suggested TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, as a last resort. Charles was desperate. Hey,
she's gonna live, guys. The music changed. Did you hear that? The stock music and the stock footage has changed now. It's gonna be okay. How do you make up these wild stories about child death in order to sell your garbage product? It's amazing to me the level of psychopathy involved in these internet marketers. They just make up these stories. They're like, hey, what Charles, what? His daughter died. Can we say anything else? Oh, yeah, it actually came back more aggressive than ever. And he actually watched his daughter choke to death. That's cool.
Furiously and desperately researching the options, he found a center in China renowned for curing the most chronic and terminal diseases. They did what it took, landed in China, and made a beeline straight for the center. This was his last hope. However, in a mere 24 days, his daughter's tumor not only stopped growing, but also began to shrink. But he had run out of his savings. Desperate to stay longer, he
What a twist here. She's about to live, but he ran out of savings. I can't get me to the point where she lives, please.
traded manual labor for him and his daughters to stay longer.
Okay.
One day, Charles's hopes were realized.
Thank you.
The tumor was gone, completely gone. Now, this story and the others just like it that you're about to hear aren't unusual just because cancer, crippling arthritis, viral infections, even as severe as AIDS, autoimmune diseases like diabetes, migraines, allergies, and extreme mental disorders were all completely cured.
Oh, so it just cures everything. I get it. Everyone knows China doesn't have any illness because of traditional Chinese medicine. Everyone knows that, right?
Yet they are still kept mainly out of view to mainstream America. They are safe, gentle, natural, and powerful. Western medicine and large pharmaceutical companies simply cannot lose their monopoly on the industry of surgery, medication, and drugs.
I love how some random internet marketers like, hey, those guys, they're greedy. Listen, I think the only person worse than Big Pharma are internet marketers, actually. I think you guys, like, if Big Pharma, you know, people like the Sackler brothers or whatever, if they're like in the fifth circle of hell, there's people underneath them for sure, internet marketers. Definitely. And I'm not saying all internet marketers, by the way, obviously. But the people who produce this, definitely going to hell.
I may be forced to, by the powers that be, to take this free video down.
It might be shut down by the Federal Trade Commission, because it should be. This is psychotic.
How suddenly even tumors in cancer cells can begin to melt away, and how asthma sufferers can suddenly feel like they are taking their first deep breath in decades. I'm going to teach you the secret in just a second, but before I do, I need to talk about the big lie that's keeping you, your family, or dear friends from being free from needless illnesses, physical pain, and disease now.
Let me guess. Big Pharma?
Think you'll see why I feel it's my duty to share it with you. So please, stay with me. The big lie is that a cure for the most debilitating and fatal diseases today can only be treated with medical drugs and surgery, and that any natural cure doesn't exist. As I'm about to prove to you in just a minute, how a natural, inexpensive, non-chemical cure does in fact exist.
What I love about this like little robot voice they have going on here, for somebody who's pretending to be brave, like I'm coming out with the big secret, who are the people behind this? I have looked for a long time at who makes this stupid thing. Of course, they're nowhere to be found. It's something called Clover 7 Nutraceuticals or something. Who owns that? Nobody knows. George Bridgham, who's he? Nobody knows. It's all a fake name. So that's the thing that really pisses me off, because these people, they go, oh, I've got the secret, but I'm keeping my face a secret. That's how you know all this stuff is a scam. They don't tell you who they are. You can't hold them accountable. Nothing.
The truth is your body already has the power to kill any harmful germ, virus, bacteria, or dysfunction by using this powerful, safe, gentle, and unusual 5-minute exercise. There's a reason why some people and even entire cultures manage to live their entire lives without debilitating illnesses, the big secret the ancient Chinese discovered and have been using for thousands of years to reverse any illness, including cancer, AIDS, clogged arteries, arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's, yeast infections.
Isn't it enough? Isn't cancer enough? Curing cancer? You have to throw in heart disease and Alzheimer's just to make it a little tougher for you. It'd be too easy to just cure cancer.
Used in China for thousands of years to heal millions of people, its potent abilities still find its way into mainstream culture.
Now, who's actually behind this whole thing? The whole scam? Well, we have this guy. I don't know if he knew what he was getting into, but he was hired by these internet marketers. He's supposedly the guy behind it all. There's always a guru behind it, guys, as you know from Fake Guru. Now we're going to learn about who's behind the touch point technique. 5 times stronger than chemotherapy, vitamins, and antioxidants. Let's go.
In Singapore named Master Lin. He is easily the most humble man I've ever met in my life. I actually had a hard time believing this humble, soft-spoken man was the source of all the stories I kept hearing about performing such miraculous feats of healing. Stories like how a man was suddenly struck with a deadly heart attack in a subway. And Master Lim, who happened to be there, was able to use his deep understanding of meridian points to literally massage the heart attack away.
Hey! Okay, we gotta address that right now. Massage the heart attack away. First of all, demonetized. Okay, we can't show that. Demonetized. Massage the heart attack away, though? They've been doing it wrong all the time. They've been zapping people unnecessarily. all you need is a little massage from Master Lim here.
Just by placing a few fingers on a specific part of the man's body, he was able to neutralize the heart attack on the spot. Without question, this saved the man's life, as it took a long time for the paramedics to come.
So what I want to tell you guys right now, let me just spoil it. This is obviously a gigantic scam. But not only is it a gigantic scam, it's a gigantic scam that's existed for a very long time. And these monsters who keep recycling this stuff are faking literally everything, including Master Lim. So I got behind their paywall, of course, and I got into the modules. And this guy's basically like, just like teaching you like rub yourself in the back and is like going to cure your cancer or whatever. It's like basic stretching, right? Because of course it's not magical healing formulas for $39.95 online that the doctors don't want you to know about. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, but these scumbags are using like traditional Chinese medicine, which, you know, has its place in the world. It's just its place is not curing cancer. I guess this is like healing your arm. I mean, could Master Lim magically regrow your arm with this tapping technique? But what I want to show you guys is that this has existed since actually back in like the early 2000s. There was something called pure natural healing. So this is a modern thing, but this is literally a redo of this, which is pure natural healing, which is Harvard confirms, you know, pain relief, heart health, and optimal blood pressure without drugs, surgery, or just beginning of this odd therapy. And in this, the same guy is used for the same thing, except the story is different. Instead of being a Singaporean man, he's a Chinese man. See, this is a scam review from Contra Health Scam, and they talk about the fact that he was the Chinese wonder healer a few years ago, and miraculously now he's become a Singaporean healer. Not only that, last time is George Bridgham. The previous version was a guy named Keith Richardson, which was just a Shutterstock photo, because of course it was. So these guys who are saying like, oh, down with pharma, right? Which is, you know, the problem is they use it because they have a point, right? Pharma's done some shady stuff for sure, but they use that to then sell you even worse snake oil. So they go to people who are like tired, frustrated, sick, the most desperate, and they go, hey, aren't you tired of those guys taking advantage of you? It's so sick. It's so sick, and we have to call it out. But yeah, all their testimonials are fake as well. They're all Shutterstock images. So literally even these things about like, it saved my life, whatever, it's all crap. It's all made up by some scumbag in his mom's basement trying to make a quick buck. So guys, what's the conclusion here? Is there such thing as a healing touch, just like there was the death touch? Unfortunately, not. Turns out to be not only a scam, but a recycled scam from years ago that some scumbag internet marketer is using to extract wealth and rent seek from old, desperate, sick people. How long are we going to get away with? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 million studio. Let me say up top, this investigation will contain potential money laundering, unregulated offshore gambling, and worst of all, influencers.
This is $1 million video. I just realized I spent $600,000 on watches. I lost $200,000 to 6ix9ine, $60,000 in private plane, $20,000 on hotels in Mexico, $100,000 on Rolex and cars. It feels good to be a winner.
This is the first in a 6-part series in collaboration with Some Ordinary Gamers. It's exposing the secret world of unregulated offshore crypto gambling and how influencers have become filthy rich by being the gasoline on the fire, promoting it around the world and making it into the billion-dollar phenomenon it is globally. Now, I'll be honest, when I first started looking at this, I had no idea about any of that. The reason I'm actually here starts off the way all great stories start, with Twitter beef. All right, here's how this went down. I had been hearing for a while about how online unregulated crypto casinos were hiring some of the biggest influencers in the world to promote them and then would pay them for every fan they got to sign up. And not only that, every time their fans would lose money to the casino, the influencer would make a cut on those losses. Now, I thought this was insane, and I said, enough's enough. It's time to act. So I tweeted about it. Quote, just found out that the top gambling streamers are getting paid a percentage of their signups losses. So not only are streamers getting paid to promote gambling to their fans, they're literally incentivized for their fans to lose as much as possible. How do these people sleep at night? Now, normally I expect my tweets to go into the great void of Jack's armpit, but this time I guess one of those gambling streamers actually saw it and he responded. Steve will do it. Now I can't imagine why he felt singled out by my tweet, but he was popped off that I would accuse him of profiting off the losses of his fans. He told me, "Hey, you broke moron, do your research. Roobet's affiliate program has nothing to do with losing. It's about the bet. Roobet is different than other gambling websites. Do your research, you broke moron, before you post like this publicly." Given his thoughtful response, I thought, hey, maybe I made a mistake. So I went back and checked Roobet's affiliate terms. And it turns out he's right. Roobet doesn't give influencers a percentage of their fans' losses. Roobet gives their influencers a percentage of the mathematical odds of their fans losing. This is straight from Roobet's page. Affiliates receive a commission of 5% of the mathematical house edge on all their referrals wagers, with that percentage increasing as the referrer climbs the tiers. And if you're thinking right now, wow, that sounds like basically exactly the same thing, it is the exact same thing, just with a little ethical distancing. It's kind of clever, actually, because now, instead of being directly tied to their fans' losses, they can plead innocent. They're still profiting from their fans, but, in that indirect economic percentage sort of way. It's kind of like saying, no, I didn't bomb those Syrian kids. I just sent the drone that did. It's the exact same thing. It just sounds a little bit better. But anyways, we fired back and forth a few times. He eventually deleted his responses, but something he said always stuck with me. And no, it wasn't the part about him sleeping very well at night, living in a penthouse, knowing that I change people's lives every day and I'm rich. It wasn't even, hey, you broke loser. It was actually this: do your research, which is why this series now exists. And Steve Will Do It legally can't be mad about it because technically he's the one who asked for this. So, yeah, Steve, this one's for you. Now, I want to be clear, ladies and gentlemen. A small sense of vindictiveness is not why I'm telling you this story today. It is a small reason, okay? I'll admit that. But it would have never carried me through this investigation, which had so many dead ends. What actually hooked me and kept me going on this investigation was a single question. How is this video possible? It shouldn't exist. To explain what I mean, let's go to the board because I got to explain a little more about Steve Will Do It for a little context. Steve is a member of Nelk, an insanely popular YouTube channel known for their pranks, like trying to use Monopoly money at a casino. Kind of weird foreshadowing, to be honest. But they generally make fun, popular videos with a lot of money being thrown around. Cars being gifted, partying, that kind of thing. But the money I was seeing thrown around, specifically in Steve Will Do It's videos, was too much. It didn't make any sense. Like every video, it was private jets, buying exotic cars, giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars. And going off my experience with YouTube, I knew something was off. See, remember that video I mentioned, the $1 million one? It only had 4.3 million views. And in that video, he really does spend $1 million.
This is $1 million video, I just realized.
By contrast, the only other YouTuber in the world I know of that can afford that kind of spending is Mr. Beast, who regularly gets 50 plus million views on a video, and there's always a sponsor on those videos to recoup some of that cost. But here's the weird thing. On Steve's video, with 10 times fewer views, there's no sponsor. And that's how so many of his videos are. He's throwing around money like Mr. Beast, but he has a fraction of the views, and he's not sponsored. So it begs the question, where's this massive cash flow coming from? Is Steve Will Do It the son of a Saudi prince? Like, this dude seems to have endless amounts of cash, oil baron amounts of cash. And at first, I thought, okay, wait a second, Happy Dad, their new alcohol company, right? But it can't be that, because this spending predates that. Well, maybe it's merch then. That's the Nelk Boys thing, right? They pull in $70 million a year selling their merch. Maybe selling hats is how Steve affords to live like the son of a president. And I would have thought that, but right as I was about to give up, someone gave me a helping hand on a drunken live stream. Let's bring down the board here.
I have figured out other ways to make money. So I'm not big because I feel like a baller right now. I don't take private planes. I don't buy $300,000 watches. I don't buy whatever. But today I just bought a $200,000 Sprinter. It's badass. It's like I don't do that from selling t-shirts, dude. It's actually impossible. I've figured out, I've gotten financial advice, this and that, from my two buddies. They've helped me out. So it's like, they own WizUp. So it's like, they've helped me make so much money to where to where I don't even want anything.
Wow. When I saw this, I thought to myself, is this guy confessing? He talks about getting financial advice from someone that changed his life. Like, from who? Who is it, Steve? Help us. Is it Warren Buffett? Did you get advice from Max Kaiser? I mean, honestly, from the way he's talking, whatever this magical financial advice is, it dwarfs Nelk's merch business.
I don't do that selling t-shirts, dude. It's actually impossible.
So what is this financial secret? What is this
Knowledge.
Immediately, I started hunting around. At first, I couldn't find much. Just more evidence that Steve Will Do It, of all people, is more loaded than possibly any other YouTuber in the world right now. Just watch this answer to a question about finances from Steve-O's podcast.
What is your mission?
To be a billionaire.
You're gonna be a billionaire.
All right.
To be a billionaire, yeah.
Do you have a timeline for that?
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years?
Damn.
What? Wait a second. 3 to 5 years? He's not even saying that ironically or as a joke. He's like, yeah, what, 3 to 5 years? I don't know. I mean, whatever secret way he's talking about making money earlier, the kind of wealth that's impossible selling merch. That must be what we're missing here, the missing link. And I wasn't making much progress finding out how he was doing it. I realized I had to focus up. I got to set my ego aside. I got to make a change. There we go. I'm finally ready. What happened next was kind of hard to stomach. I spent the next several days watching enough Steve Will Do It content to make my eyes bleed. But finally, all my work paid off. I finally found the episode where Steve once again mentions his friend who made him so much money.
Alfonso has helped me a lot, with some financial like making good financial moves, money moves. I'm forever grateful for him, and I'm gonna gift him a Richard Mille. And so he has a bunch of Richard Milles, but this one's like a unique one.
Okay, so we actually learned something here. One, this Alfonso guy, Steve's special friend who helped him, he must be loaded, right? Because if he has a collection of Richard Mille watches that regularly cost hundreds of thousands of dollars individually, a collection would mean he's at least worth several $1 million minimum. Now at this point, I'm imagining several different possible candidates for this mentor of Steve's. Obviously Ty Lopez being the first one, but I was completely wrong. The financial wizard behind the curtain is shockingly young.
So this is Alfonso, and
wait, this guy? He looks like your average frat bro in his mid-20s. But even as that was like breaking my brain, things started to make even less sense. Pay attention to what he calls Alfonso just a bit later in this clip. I'm going to let it play for a bit.
And this is Doom. 100% of the time, 365 days of the year, he wears a full send / Steve Will Do It / Happy Dad shirt. And Alan, 90...
Whoa. Did you catch that? He calls him...
Alan! And Alan...
And he does it again later, too.
This is Alan's beautiful girlfriend.
Alan again. Huh. Why would Steve Will Do It mislabel his friend? To find out, I called up a friend of mine who's been digging into this, the Third Eye himself, because we need to get to the bottom of who this mystery man is. Philion, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you've been looking into this. Who is this Alfonso guy? Or Alan, whoever it is?
All right, so I tracked it all down. His name is Alan. He's a 25-year-old multi-millionaire running the Los Angeles social media scene. He owns both Roobet and Wizza. You know Roobet, right?
Yeah, it's that online casino that Steve Will Do It and all those guys are gambling on, right?
Exactly, except it's offshore, unregulated, cryptocurrency-based, and it's not legal in the US. And they are raking in tens of millions of dollars per month.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second. You're saying Alan owns that along with Wizza as well?
Yep.
Those are some big accusations. How do you know it's this like frat bro behind it all? He doesn't have his name on it, right?
Well, he does have Roobet's name on himself. He's quite literally got a tattoo of it on his wrist, which he showcases above his Richard Mille, the $500,000 watches.
All the one that all the 25-year-olds own.
Yeah. I mean, I got 2 of them, but I got them also on the transitive property of Aiden Ross.
Wait, what do you mean? You got a clip for that or something?
Of course, let's roll it.
His house is sponsored by a company called like Wizza or some shit. I haven't paid rent at all.
But I could do, and if you guys could literally help me come up with giveaways, like challenges and like last person to blah 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 gets blah 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 blah. Like I can literally promote it how I want to do it, how we want to do it. You guys can help me decide. Like, yo, Aiden, you should do a giveaway where you're doing this. They're actually really cool dudes, bro, and they're just like me. Like they own Roobet, they own that site, right?
Not only that, Roobet's Rocket Fund LLC is also registered to the exact same address as the Wizza Sweepstakes LLC, which is 930 Washington Avenue, Suite 205, Miami 33139.
Holy sh! It is the same guys. So when Steve will do it's talking about his friend who owns Wizza helping him out financially in life, he's talking about Roobet?
Yep, he's talking about Alan. And not only that, this guy Alan used to be part of the CSGO gambling scene back in the day under the name Arrow1738 until he shut down his YouTube channel with 40,000 subscribers, and now, since then, he's tried to stay in the dark.
It's the same scam all over again.
Exactly.
All right, I know that's been a lot, so we're going to recap real quick. So Steve Will Do It is like insanely loaded because of this guy whose name is Alfonso, but not Alfonso because that's actually an alias. His name is Alan, and he owns a sketchy giveaway company called Wizza, but also Roobet, which is an online gambling casino, which obviously gives us some context to why Steve Will Do It is defending Roobet so hard on Twitter. This is his golden goose. This is where his money is coming from. In fact, remember that $1 million video? I think we finally have the answer to that. It may not have been sponsored, but watching it again, there definitely was a sponsor in that video. This is definitely our guy. He's the reason for this lavish spending. But I also realized that this story might be bigger than just Steve. Yes, he's loaded. And I'm determined to find out how much money he's making from getting his fans to gamble at offshore, unregulated casinos. But there are many other influencers also promoting Roobet. You've got Nelk, Aiden Ross, Logan Paul's friend, Banks, and you also got Wizza. How does that play into this sketchy giveaway company? And what about Alfonso? There's just so much here. I think I got to make a call, honestly. All right, Mood, I'm passing this off to you. We need to do more research about Roobet. How does it work? How do you get paid? What's going on with all these LA influencers?
Oh, brother, I'm already on it. Look at this.